Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Hannah. The channel is the Y.A.N.G podcast, and today I wanted to talk about something that is inspired or was inspired by the series Adolescence that is on Netflix. Currently, it's trending everywhere and it's number one on Netflix. The reason why this was triggered, it's not something that I'm discussing for the first time ever. I have done this in a previous episode when I was talking about the fringe sections of different social issues and how those fringe sections or those small groups within these sections, they've turned, they've done everything to turn everything or everyone against the entire movement at large. Yeah, at large, where I talked about the gender issues and how a small section, majorly led by the transgenders, have caused a lot of hate towards the entire movement. I talked about how feminism and small pieces of the feminism movement have caused a lot of hate and distrust directed towards the feminist movement. And then I talked about the manosphere and how a small section of the red pill has caused a lot of problems within the entire community itself. The main purpose of the community, which was positive, the trigger for the community was a positive movement for men to be able to be taught how to be men or to be exposed to other things that were causing them friction against women, and also it was a sort of empowerment, men empowerment movement. And I talked about the red pill there. Now today I wanted to talk about the red pill in connection to the movie, the series Adolescence. And the reason I wanted to talk about this, a few years ago, I don't know if I've mentioned in another episode, but a few years ago when Andrew Tate was trending, was known as the top G, like he was that guy. I was talking to one of my male friends, and I wanted to get what they knew or felt about Andrew Tate and people like him. And in our discussion, what I was surprised that this guy was not able to see was that these people were actually conning. They were actually conning the men that they were claiming to save, like the men that they were claiming to come and save. And some of the things that I saw for myself, with like from the movement, like in Andrew, we were talking about these things. Some of the things that I noticed were the constant, like the point of these top G's and whatever was to get women. But the same item that you're saying you're planning to get, ama the same person that you're saying the target, the target or the goal for the movement was majorly how to get women and what type of women they were planning to get. But still within the movement, ama within the same story, they are villainizing the same woman. So I'm like, what's the point? I'm telling you, come, I take you to this place, you go, eat the food, and then I'm telling you the food is also horrible. Like, are you this doesn't make any sense for me. But the guy was like, no, they're doing this because it's very important that we understand, because women have taken over a lot of things. Women have done this, women have done that, women have done the next. And I'm like, okay, that's quite interesting. And how do you suppose these guys are going to teach you how to get these things? And this guy tells me that uh, Andrew had opened a school or something, a school for people like him. It was an online school, and they were supposed to pay some amount to be able to get courses, to be able to grow, like to be able to learn. And I'm like, okay, that's also very interesting, because I've already told you the point of this movement was going to get a rotten thing. But I'm charging you for you to come with me to get the same rotten thing. Like, what are we doing? Because this doesn't make any sense. And what has come across with the series, The Adolescents, is a similar thing. Like the red pill movement in itself has become a scam, and it's scamming men. Like it has scammed men with the guys that they're fighting against women. And the confusion, iyo part yenye men don't understand that this is an entire, like this is them getting conned, is what surprises me. Because unapata the level of ignorance that men have nowadays, especially men who have been influenced by these people, is astounding. Unapata the type of conversation that you can even have with this type of men, it's very scary, because unashinda, are you talking to a kid, or who are you talking to? The type of, even the way, like you may meet someone who is well dressed and who enjoys their own life in whatever way. Like unakutana na mtu very good looking, very neat, very sharp, and you're like, wow, this might be an interesting guy. And then you have a conversation with that person and you're like, oh my god, I'd rather you kept your mouth shut. I'd rather you stayed silent, because the attraction was higher when you were silent. It doesn't make any sense that these people are like this. Someone goes to the gym, does whatever they do, and the minute you start talking to them, you realize just how ignorant they are. And I'm saying this coming from a woman who is more towards the conservative than liberal. So it can't be that I'm too modernized for me to understand what they're saying. But ukiangalia the entire thing, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, because they're continuously being taught that when you're talking to a woman, you have to disregard her, you have to break her down, you have to. And the surprising thing is, who in their right mind would think that insulting someone will make them more attracted to you? Because unless that person is a very broken person, I don't see a scenario where I can continue having a conversation with someone after they've insulted me. Like it doesn't make any sense at all for me to continue having that type of conversation. And I kept telling this guy, you'll be surprised a few years later when you come to realize that this guy, this Andrew person, was actually conning you. You'll get surprised. You'll get to that point where you'll be more surprised that this person not only destroyed your life, wasted your time, but now you're having to adjust to a life that doesn't make any sense for you. So here are a few points that for me that made me realize from the get-go that the red pill community was conning the same women that the same men sorry, the same men that um the same men they were claiming to save. One of the points is the red pill. The point of the red pill, from what I've read, what I've seen them discuss, was supposed to represent the truth, the reality, and the stepping out of the matrix. In this community, the red pill is supposed to give you a clear blueprint for success. It's supposed to give you a clear blueprint of how to get with women, because I don't know when it turned around to be the target was getting women and also making money and being stable. These men are taught to believe that if they followed these steps, hizo steps za, if you do 1, 2, 3, if you go to the gym, if you get your money together, if you become very sharp, and by sharp I mean dressed, not intellectually. Like you become, you know how to dress, you know how to walk, you know how to do all these things, you're going to be an ideal person. You're going to go into the 20%, I think, the 20% of men that women want. They were taught that these steps usually they include and are not limited to getting ripped, making money. And the making money part is also by all means necessary. By all means necessary, making that money, they're eventually going to get the top tier women. And the challenge with this for me, Sasa Malin Leona, they're getting scammed, was the top tier women, most of them were Insta models. Like unapata the top tier, these video vixens, na nini, those women that have made themselves into products online. Those were the targets for this community. And you're like, okay. I thought the point was to get someone you could marry, someone you could settle down with. And if someone tries and says no, that is not, no, no, no. Look at everyone who has come out of this red pill community and who they are dating or who they're having a relationship with. Even these people that were trending the other day, wanting to the fresh and fit people, what type of women are they dating as well? They're always either paying for someone to date them, being a sugar daddy to someone, and like the same women they are downgrading are the same women that they are going out with. So at the end of the day, you're like, I thought this was supposed to go the other way. Why are we going this other way? But anyway, that is the first point for me when I realized that these people are actually scamming the men they are claiming to save. And that was the point of the red pill. Also, I forgot to mention the point of it was to go against the um, female empowerment movement. It was to go against the modern woman. And the modern woman, the one that is being villainized a lot by the red pill community, is the type of woman who works for herself, who takes care of her own bills, who knows her rights, the woman that is educated, the woman that is literate, the woman that is empowered, the woman that knows how to go about her life without needing a man. That is the woman that has been so villainized by the red pill community. And at the end of the day, unapata that same woman, because now the past few years have been, if you're working, if you're doing whatever that you're doing to get these Insta models, then you have to shit on these other women. And these other women are like, okay, if that's the game, then I'm not going to play. And a lot of women, which statistically go anywhere, you'll find these topics being discussed. A lot of women, that type of women, does not want to date anymore, does not want to have families anymore, does not want to be someone's wife anymore. Because at the end of the day, unapata, if that is what you're bringing to the table, let me use one of their phrases. If that is what you're going to bring to the table, if ignorance and muscles is what you're going to bring to the table, it does not make sense for me to have wasted years in school, for me to have wasted years building a career, for me to have my own clean space so that you can come in and bring muscles and ignorance. It doesn't make any sense for anyone or anything. That's why unapata sasa, that is the other con. The target, the point of this movement, getting women, getting families, cannot happen by you shitting on your target. It cannot happen by you saying that the modern woman is the problem. And this issue with the modern woman, I don't know why some of these men, especially in the red pill community, find a problem with it. Because we're coming to a point where the modern woman herself, I do not agree with this. Like I said, I lean more towards the conservative, but I do not agree with this. But a lot of modern women, so that they can maintain some level of power in their own houses, in their own spaces, they are okay with going 50-50 with men. They're okay with you taking care of the bills and I take care of some of the bills. They're okay with you staying at home and taking care of the kids while I work. I'm not okay with us. I'm not okay with any of, any of that. But unapata, like ideally, if I were a modern man, I would think marrying a modern woman would make a lot of sense. Rather than getting someone according to their own terms, according to this red pill people, someone who is not educated, someone who is too young to have a mature conversation with, someone who is very ignorant, and someone who is going to wait for me to make every other decision in the house. Like I have to decide we are going this way, we are going that way. This person is not supposed to think, talk, or even communicate in any way. So she's just supposed to be there for me. if I were a modern man, I wouldn't think that would be ideal. And I've seen a lot of men especially a few years older than us, kwa millennial, older millennials, they prefer being with modern women, because at the end of the day unapata, if it was to take you 10 years to build a business and you're married to someone who also shares your vision, who has the intelligence to see something through, then it takes you lesser time. It takes you 5 years to do the same business that you're planning to do. Like two ile statement, yeah, two heads are better than one, because you have this person with you. You have someone you can lay some of the weights or some of the things onto, rather than just having someone who does not do anything and you're just there. That is the other con that the red pill movement did to men, lying to them that getting what in quote they call the virtuous woman, which is so nonsensical, because when you tell them to define a virtuous woman, they start saying she shuts up, she's a virgin, she's, I don't know, 18 years, she is. And the more they keep defining this type of woman, kuna mwingine alikuwa anasema by the way that the type of woman that they want is the one that will allow for the relationship to be open on the husband's side. And I'm like, we're in a world where you don't need to get married, you don't need to even be in a relationship. Why would I get into a relationship with someone and then say, no, I want to be with you, but I also want to be with other people, but you cannot be with someone else? Like, what type of bargain is that? Like I said, it doesn't make any sense. But these are the things that they sold to men as the achievement of them being in this movement. So far we've covered the red pill. The red pill itself was a lie. The red pill, the blueprint for the red pill was a scam. The second one was the feminist. They were told that the feminist woman, the woman that has been empowered, was the enemy. I don't think that's the issue, because we find that within the last few years after this red pill manenos, women have stepped up. Women are running businesses. Like I said, women are planning their futures without thinking of having a family, without thinking of settling down, without thinking of a lot of things. Like, women have stepped up. Women are moving the society forward, while men are still trying to figure out which way they're going to go. So, like the feminist, they were lied to that the feminist was the wrong person. Now, don't get me wrong with this one. There are also women who, like I discussed in the other topic, there are also women who are the cause of the fall of the women empowerment. And I talked about women who think that women empowerment should be scrapped off, but they own businesses and they own podcasts or YouTube channels where they sit and talk about how women should be quiet. And I'm like, eh? You should be leading by example by being quiet. Like how women should not vote, then don't vote. Like, no one is forcing you to do these things. Yes, and also another part of the negative side of feminism was the demonization of men. That is a topic on its own, but it's something that is also part of this. So when I talk about the feminist, I'm just talking about the woman who was educated alongside these men that are finding problem with her. Like, they've villainized that woman to the point where even that woman does not even care to have a connection with this man anymore. The other one is how the other point of how this red pill community has scammed the men that they claim to save is the illusion. The last few years, by that I mean kutoka 2013, 2023, 2024, and now 2025, a lot of these red pill gurus have been unearthed as scammers. They don't own these big mansions that they claim to be owning. They don't do those gym exercises that they claim to be teaching people. Na mwingine alikuwa unearthed the other day with a very funny video trying to do, what are they called? nimesahau hiyo. Like the form was not even there, but he's supposed to be a fitness instructor. The other one was found, the same Andrew was found that he owned uh what is it called, a fem something, where people call women to what is it called? Why have I forgotten that name? These online sites where men call women or text with women for money or something, like they pay to talk to women. What is it called? Let me see if I can get it. Where they pay to not stock rooms. Nakwambia, my Google being virtuous. Oh, I can't find it, but it's there. It was found that he owns these types of things. Mostly it's like a brothel or something where you have women coming in to do video chat and video calls or texting men. So nashindwa, if you're supposed to train me on how to get women, then you open these things and I pay you again. Now I was paying you the first time for you to teach me how to get women. And then I'm coming to a site where I'm thinking I'm talking to women, and you come online and say you're actually the one I was chatting with. Why have that name disappeared? I've forgotten it. It's all a big scam. Like he was found out to be a big scam where he was charging people to talk to women, but he himself, he outed himself as one of the people who are talking to these men disguised as women. So the illusion, that is something that they created. The top G was this phenomena that every time you'd see him on a podcast or anything, he'd be looking like that ideal guy, that alpha male. But you come to the ground and you realize a lot of these people, like I said, they don't own these 20 luxury cars. They don't own these mansions. They have nothing to their names. But on the other hand, you're being taught that if you're like me, you're going to succeed. The other point was now the scamming, the actual scamming. One I've just mentioned was he created a website where people would call, text, or video chat women that he allegedly had kidnapped and held against their wills. And these guys, to the point where he and his brother would also talk to these men pretending to be women. This is a charged service. So already you're getting scammed by these same men who are claiming to teach you. The other scam was the courses, the PhD by Andrew, where he was charging people exorbitantly. Let me see by the way how much it was. How much it cost per month. Per month, 50 US dollars. To give that context, in Kenya, you'd have been paying around 5,000 shillings per month. Per month to be taught how to make money. Yoni from cryptocurrency, copywriting, and e-commerce, which was facilitated by pre-recorded videos and a Discord server. The problem with this was there was nothing groundbreaking that people were paying for. I was watching Yeah, it was called Hustlers University. I was watching this YouTuber, Anita Coffeezilla. I think it was Coffeezilla. Go through some of the things that people, I'm not sure if it was him, but that people are paying for kwa Hustlers University. And at the end of the day, you come to realize that this entire thing was not worth it. It was a scam. Like the men who have gone, you can just search Hustlers University and was it worth it? And the men that paid for this, some of the stories that they've written, unaelewa tu. These people are just getting scammed. These people are just getting scammed. But this is your purported savior. The other person I wanted to quote in this was the Fresh and Fit people, where they charged people almost 4,000 shillings, or was it 400 shillings? 4,000 shillings to get on a yacht to talk to women, but they didn't have these women. They had to go around the streets asking for any woman that they saw to come and join their party so that these men can talk to women. That is another scam. Like, it makes sense wapi. It makes sense wapi. I'm looking at a Reddit thread. Yeah, people discussing this Hustlers University and how and how it didn't work out for them. Someone saying it did, but a guy is saying that they spent $1,200 last week. $1,200 last week pekee. Like 1 week pekee. Anyway, that one was another scam. Majority of them, it didn't work out for them. Someone saying it did, that they learned how to make money, but most of them are saying the only the only one making, this is a comment I'm reading, the only one making money from Hustlers University is the owner from your subscription fee, membership fee. And you can imagine this person has millions of followers. So imagine everyone paying $50 a month for this. $50 a month. A month. And then the other person is saying that they made a lot of money, but they made it from affiliate programs, like reselling this and you rate courses to other men. Wakijoin, you get some percentage or something. And how can you join a community of someone who's done nothing of what they claim to teach? Well, there are also a lot of free courses online or just more high quality ones that are paid and done by people with experience, not scammers. Yes, this is what I was saying. Like everything that Hustlers University was teaching could be found online. Like there was nothing groundbreaking. You could find every stock trading, e-commerce, everything that you needed there. You could find online for free. For free. The perks of HU is that you're in a community or people with different level of success and any with e-commerce you can connect with. That is something that I can never take away from people who want to be in a community. The point that you're part of a community, you're part of a discussion, it's not something wrong. That is something to look for. But every other thing that was listed in that Hustlers University was something that could be found online. The other point was the society. On the society, I wanted to address it not from the point of these red pill gurus, but just from someone in the society, and how the society also scammed men. And by that, I'll start by looking at where, like, the birth of the feminism movement, or the female empowerment, and the birth, now the later birth of the red pill community. And by that, I also mean, where were the fathers? Because the feminist movement, the female empowerment movement, came across because husbands stroke fathers were either being abusive or restrictive, or they had taken advantage of women in their lives. Unapata a lot of our, most of our grandmothers, our grandfather, no, grandmothers, great grandmothers, mothers, they are the pioneers of this movement. So what happened? What was happening with men at that time that women were like, no, we cannot keep up with this. We cannot keep going on with this. We need to empower the women that are coming after us to the point where they have their own freedom, they have their own choices, they have the ability to do everything. And some of the things that these men were doing back then to the older folks, ilikuwa the point where women could not own property. Women were actually property being owned by the men that they were with. Women didn't have a voice. If you spoke or tried to debate with your husband, you were entitled to a beating. Now you see, like, the father figure, the male side of the society, where was it? Where was it when all this was happening? Why did it let these things get out of control to this point? Like, to the point where the men that are joining these red pill communities, they're joining them because they don't have positive male role models to look up to in their own lives. So the society here has scammed men. Of course, they scammed women, but they've scammed these men because society yenyewe, it's the failure in this situation. Like, hiyo ndio imefail watu kabisa. The society itself has failed these men in this community. And then now when women started stepping aside and saying, let us see what we can do, like, let us empower the generations that are coming after us, then ikakuwa it is the women's fault. Then the woman has to become the villain. The male figure, and the lack of male presence at home, how is that to blame for, like, how that the deadbeat dads, the men who are abusive, the men who are drunkards, the men who are not present in their homes, how did that become the woman's fault? Like, the mother who stayed, or the single parent who is raising her own sons, or the sister who stepped up to take care of the family. How did that person become the villain? Because this is a question that the society needs to tell us. How did this person become the villain and the creator now, the creator in quotes for the red pill movement? Because it's built on women empowerment. The other point of scamming for me is, after men have done all these things that they are required by the red pill community, that is, you're getting raped, looking sharp, looking dressed, being taught how to speak to women, being taught how to break down women, being taught how to hate women, is of it. After they've been taught all of these things and how women are the villain, they come back, like I said, they come back to these women, trying to talk to these women, and they face rejection. Because, like I said on my part, the man that has been spat out of this red pill community is a very well dressed, ignorant person you can't have a conversation with. And when the woman says no to this man, they cannot believe that they were rejected. They cannot believe that they are something that someone can say no to. And this is the main motivation for the Adolescence series. Because this young man, this young boy was rejected by a girl, he thought he was in the right to kill her. Because they didn't want to face rejection. They couldn't stomach that someone would reject them. And even towards the end of the series, where the young boy is asking the therapist if she liked him, or like, what do you expect? The entire interaction, the young boy, a very young boy, has been very condescending, has been very aggressive, has been like acting up all along. And then you turn around and say, do you like me? And you're like, which part? Skipping over the fact that the therapist was older, of course. She cannot say that she liked a child. But skipping over that fact, if this young boy was a man, what part of that interaction was I supposed to like? What part of that discussion was I supposed to like? And then when they are rejected, because they've been taught that they need to break down women, they need to create scenarios where women feel small and that they need these men, and then they're rejected. Now it becomes, the end result becomes broken men afraid of rejection, and they are very aggressive towards the weaker gender, and they are very aggressive also. They take out their anger on their women, like you saw with the dad, very aggressive against um very aggressive towards young children, very aggressive to his wife, very dismissive and emotional. Like you get an entire big child who does not know what to do. And then this now becomes a scam to the entire society itself, because like I said, a lot of women out here, they're not interested in this men. They're no longer interested in this men. You can't have a conversation with these people. You can't. It's so oof. It's so draining. It's a lot. It's a lot for you to try and have a conversation with people from this red pill community. So in conclusion, was the red pill really a worthy movement? I think when it started off, the point of it, from what I've gathered from the different discussions, the point of the red pill community, empowering men, creating a channel for men to have these discussions, creating a channel for older men to help younger men navigate life, I think that was a positive thing from the get go. But the fringe movement, the fringe part of this red pill community, which is the loudest, has taken over to the point where even these gurus, are afraid of their own fans. Because some of the things that these fans say, in our surprise, they're like, no, this is not what I meant. But you're forgetting that when you have these discussions online and you share a tiny snippet that is like a soundbite that will trend all over the internet, this young child will not think to go and look for the entire clip to get the context. Wameona ukisema women should be beaten, that is what they're going to go with in life. So this French movement came across, became the loudest, and ruined the entire movement. But the biggest problem, of course, women, we are afraid of a lot of things. From this movement, we've seen a lot of increase in femicide, aggression towards women, suicide as well, because you're told if you follow this blueprint, everything is going to work out. And then we find out that nothing is working out. So with this movement has created a lot of issues for men than solved the problems that they were claiming to solve from the get-go. So in conclusion, on my end, I wish men would step up, because there are good men. I wish men would step up and take care of the boy child. I wish men would stop walking around as if women are the villains in this story. Men needs to step up. They need to step up. They need to turn around and fill their shoes. They need to stop looking at our history and saying, no, we want to go back to that. We want this type of woman. We want, no, that woman no longer exists. You need to step up and turn things around for your own sake. So see you in the next one.